All right, so get ready to dive into something different today, huh?
Yeah, sounds intriguing.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into sip and talk.
Sip and talk, okay.
Yeah, and it's being described as like more than just a self-help podcast.
Okay, so like deeper than just like your average self-help stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking deep conversations, personal growth. They even sprinkle in a little magic, from what I hear.
Really? Magic. Okay.
Well, maybe not like actual magic, but they do have a segment called Magic Lessons. So
Interesting. Okay.
it seems like they're really going for this whole creating a sanctuary vibe.
Sanctuary. Yeah, I see that. Like a safe space for the listener, kind of.
Exactly. Like you're
Yeah.
not just passively listening, you're actively participating in this whole year of you journey they keep mentioning.
Year of you. So it's focused on like personal transformation then.
Totally. It's all about like self-discovery, mindfulness, overcoming hurt, gratitude, all that good stuff. And honestly, who doesn't want a little more of that in their life, right?
Right. It seems like they're really tapping into that desire we all have for like growth and becoming a better version of ourselves.
Absolutely. And they don't shy away from the tough stuff either. Like they have this segment called Unspoken.
Unspoken. What's that all about?
Well, from what I gathered, it's about addressing those like taboo topics, those things we don't always want to talk about, but, probably should.
Interesting. So like the shadow self, the stuff we try to keep hidden.
Exactly. But then they balance it out with lighter segments like The Minimalist.
The minimalist. Okay. Is that about like decluttering your life?
Yes, decluttering your mind, your physical space. It's about simplifying, getting back to the basics.
I can get behind that.
Me too. And then there's Magic Lesson, which, like I said, I'm super curious about.
Yeah, magic lesson definitely stands out.
It does, right. Like, what kind of magic are we talking about here? I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical, but also intrigued.
Me too.
Well,
It's like they're promising to unlock some hidden potential or something.
right. Like, what if there are these, like, magical life skills that we just haven't tapped into yet?
It's a cool concept for sure. And I mean, who couldn't use a little more magic in their lives, right?
Exactly. And there's not just talking about, waving a wand and making your problems disappear.
I mean, it's got to be more than that.
It's about, like, changing your perspective, shifting your mindset,
Yeah.
the real magic.
Yeah, the magic we create from within. I like it. Okay, so they have Unspoken, The Minimalist, Magic Lesson. What other segments have you discovered in your deep dive?
And then they have this other segment called
Okay. Yeah.
Cat. Yeah.
Okay.
And that one, like, I don't know, it immediately made me think like, okay, we're going like full on spiritual here.
Yeah, it seems like they are going there.
Right.
Like exploring the deeper meaning of life and all
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And it's interesting. They actually give us a little peek behind the curtain in the materials we have. Like the creator talks about their own like personal journey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I always find that fascinating, hearing about the inspiration behind these things.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they've been through a lot, like healing, finding their voice, and wanting to help others do the same. Pretty powerful stuff.
I bet. What kind of language do they use to describe it all?
Oh, it's very
Yeah.
it's very evocative.
Okay.
Like they use phrases like solitude, evolution of the soul, and reconnecting with your inner child. Like, wait,
Solitude, evolution of the soul. Okay, I'm going to need you to unpack that one for me.
right? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, break that down.
So, from what I understand,
Okay.
it's about like recognizing that sometimes you need that alone time
Yeah.
to really like grow and evolve.
Right.
It's in those moments of solitude that you can really connect with, like your inner wisdom and, your true self.
So it's not about like isolating yourself completely, but more about just like
Yeah.
creating that space for introspection.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Yeah.
between connection and solitude
Right.
and recognizing that both are super important for personal growth.
I like that.
And then there's the whole reconnecting with your inner child thing.
Yeah. That seems to be popping up everywhere these days.
It does, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like sip talk might have a unique take on it.
Okay. How so?
Well, they're not just talking about like nostalgia or reliving the past,
Right.
They're actually encouraging listeners to like understand their adult selves through their childhood experiences, like specifically from birth to age 6, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Oh, wow. So like those formative years really shape who we become as adults.
Yeah, exactly.
Like maybe we're carrying around some baggage from those early years that we don't even realize.
Right. And by revisiting those experiences, we can start to understand like the root of our beliefs and our behaviors and all that.
And maybe even heal some of those deeper wounds, right?
Precisely.
Okay, so then they get into this whole concept of selfless liberation. Selfless liberation.
Yeah, I know. When I first read that, I was like, wait, hold on. How can you be selfless and liberated at the same time?
Right, those seem kind of contradictory.
Right. But I think what they're trying to say is that true freedom, like, comes from letting go of our ego
Oh,
and
okay.
focusing on something bigger than ourselves.
So it's not about, like, sacrificing your own happiness or anything?
No, 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 not at all.
Okay.
It's more about aligning your actions with a greater purpose.
I see, I see. So, like, finding that balance between your own needs and the needs of others.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which I think ties into their emphasis on showing up as your authentic self.
Because you can't really be of service to others if you're not being true to yourself, right?
Exactly.
And-
And speaking of authenticity, Sip and Talk does not hold back.
Oh, how so?
They are not afraid to get real, to talk about the tough stuff. Like, even some of their episode titles are kind of intense.
Really? Like, what?
Okay, so one of them is called What's Your Poison?
What's your poison? Okay.
And another one is called I Am Poison.
I am poison. Wow. That's pretty hardcore for a self-help podcast.
I know, right? Like, they're really encouraging us to confront those, like, shadowy parts of ourselves.
It's interesting because you don't usually see that level of, like, rawness in this kind of content.
It is. It is. And it seems like you said, I mean, they're really encouraging us to confront that part of ourselves, you know?
Yeah, those parts that maybe we're not so proud of or that we try to keep hidden.
Right,
Because
exactly.
they seem to be saying that there's, like, real growth potential there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even talk about, like, all these higher sense benefits that come with doing that inner work.
Higher sense benefits. Okay, now you're losing me a little.
I know, right? When I first heard that, I was like, okay, are we talking, like, psychic powers here or what?
Yeah, it does sound a little out there.
But it's actually not as woo-woo as it sounds.
Okay, good.
Like, they're talking about things like increased self-awareness,
Okay.
deeper empathy for others, a greater sense of purpose.
So, like, the ripple effects of doing that deep inner work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not just about, like, feeling better about yourself.
Right.
It's about, like, how you show up in the world,
Yeah.
you know, how you interact with others.
Becoming a better human, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Hmm.
Which I think goes back to their whole year of you tagline, right?
Yeah, it's like that personal growth can have a ripple effect outwards.
Exactly.
It's not just about you. It's about, like, making the world a better place.
Exactly.
And who wouldn't want to do that?
Right. Like,
Yeah.
sign me up.
Sign me up.
And I think what's cool about Sip and Talk is that it feels very, like,
Yeah.
approachable.
Okay.
Like, it's not preachy. It's just honest conversations. You know?
Yeah, like you're just sitting down with a friend, having a chat.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what makes it so appealing, you know?
It's like they're creating a space for vulnerability and authenticity,
Yes.
which is so important, especially these days.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think that's the beauty of Sip and Talk. It's
Yeah.
like they've created this, like you said, this sanctuary.
Sanctuary for the soul.
Yes, exactly,
for it.
where
Go-
you can, like, go and explore these different aspects of yourself and connect with others who are on a similar journey.
And hopefully come out the other side feeling like a little bit lighter and brighter.
Yes, a little more enlightened.
Exactly.
So if you're listening and you're intrigued, I say check it out.
Definitely give it a listen.
You never know. You might just discover something amazing about yourself.
Cheers to that.